Hi guys, welcome to another episode. Today we're going to talk about how to control a 6-strokes linear fill on top of 4, which means that we're going to play 6 notes on top of a 4/4 count, and this becomes an irregular cycle of notes for us, so we have to learn to control it, so exactly know when it starts and when it ends in between the bars, and when it ends after the 4th bar, so that we always hit the 1 in the right way. So first of all, we're going to start keeping our hi-hat on 4, counting every one of the 4/4 notes, and then we're going to accent the first stroke of the 6-strokes linear fill. So in this way. Okay, so we understand that, of course, what we're playing with our hand, it's a circle that's longer than what we're doing on our hi-hat. But we will have to keep in mind that if we're playing in a musical context, so with other people, everybody else is going to play, in this case, following our hi-hat. So when the cycle on the snare drum finishes, we're not going to be on the 1, but we will be over the 1, and so that we won't end and fall on the 1 like everybody else will. So second step now is to understand when does the circle of 6 finishes based on the hi-hat, and then we'll have to be able to count the 4 notes with our hi-hat while we're playing this on the snare, and stop when the new 1 is of the circle of the hi-hat bars, so that we know exactly how this starts and ends in a 4 measures, so in 1 bar basically, so in this way. Okay, so now we understand that the pattern that we're going to play sounds something like having this in mind is a great reference for some of these linear fills, or anyway, it can be a good reference for us to have in order that when we improvise and when we're in the music, we have this kind of pattern going on, ta 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 ta, which sounds like a clave almost, but it sounds like musical to our ears, and we can control this feel, the 6-strokes linear feel, even improvising, just by hearing this, just by keeping, train our ear to hear this. So for example, if I would have to start working on this feel and make it a linear feel with the bass drum and maybe moving this around the set, a good way and a simple way to start this would be substituting the accent with a bass drum note. So for example, putting the hi-hat in, it would sound like this. Okay, so basically what we're going to hear, it's always the same kind of pattern, but instead of having the clave thing played with the accent stroke, it will be with the bass drum. So okay, so at this point we know that when we're playing in a 4/4 situation and we play something like we automatically we will start and finish in the right way, and we don't need to count, we don't need to have any of that, because we've learned how this sounds. And so this is the first step. This helps us to control this by hearing it with a listening type of control.